Advertising partner Aerios alleged that Western Province's provisional liquidation order is partly a move to avoid paying them out. Aerios is contesting the order on two grounds: that content digital streaming rights meant for them have been sold to another media entity, and that the expected return on investments from the work done for the union will now possibly fall away should the order go through.
So basically what they did is they went to their sponsors and they used our advertising rights, which they weren't entitled to do, and offered it to them, and trying to get it from us at a much discounted rate.
Constantino is scathing in his criticism of the union's actions.
They painted this picture in the papers that for the last few years they've been insolvent. But if the directors knew this and the directors understood that they were insolvent, why did they let us invest multiple millions into the stadium last year on their request, only to go into liquidation this year?
He's also questioning the legality of the order.
The fact that they're coming out and they're saying, well, this entity is not doing so well, we'll just run it out of the union and then we'll carry on. And you know what, that funding that we were going to put in the PTY, we'll put it in eNCA. It screams of fraud. It screams of in my mind, it's criminal.
We spoke to a legal expert from law firm Hogan Lovells about the liquidation.
It sounds like to me that the Aerios claim could be quite substantial and the company can't afford to pay it. So the directors of Western Province Rugby, as with any company, have to make a decision. Because if you can't afford to pay a debt, you've got a number of options.
One of those options is to liquidate.
If you just think about the nature of a liquidation application, the company is saying it's insolvent, it can't pay its debts. For a creditor, any creditor, including Aerios, to come along and say, well, I haven't been paid, that's not a ground for not granting a liquidation order. In fact, it's quite the opposite. That is the ground for granting a liquidation order.
Elliott adds there are many tools available to the liquidator to assess where the company's money would have gone. It's also possible for Province to run the union separately from the company while the liquidation order is in place, provided the company does not have assets.
The real question is whether Western Province Rugby Pty Ltd has any assets, because it would be improper and actually unlawful if the company has got assets, and these assets are now either just transferred free, gratis and for nothing and for mahala to the other entity without being paid in full, properly for it, or possibly just being allowed to use the asset without being paid.
When asked in Parliament this week if he would resign in the light of the provisional liquidation, Western Province President Thelo Wakefield was emphatic in his response.
In short, not at all. Not at all.
Western Province have hit back at Aerios. CEO Paul Zacks dismissed the company's allegations as unfounded and defamatory in a statement. The final liquidation order hearing is set for December 12. If that is granted, Aerios can lodge a claim with the Master of the High Court to recoup the money they say remains owing. Hlonim Timkulu, Cape Town.